went to Starbucks twice.
And did you think about your experience?
Yeah, I got exactly what I wanted for $280. Broke. I lose my husband, but my coffee was hot. Marry, fuck, or kill. Welcome.
Welcome to Startup.
I'm Hev.
I'm Jessica.
Jessica. Happy 3 days after Christmas.
Bala.
What's today, the 27th?
I don't know.
We don't know.
Not counting anymore. You said Happy Friday. I'm like, is it? So for Christmas, Matt got me a sushi rolling,
Stop it.
to make sushi at home.
I know how to do that.
I do too now. So I went balls out and bought a whole bunch of stuff.
Where'd you go?
The new Asian market in town. Very happy. I did just get imitation crab. That's what they had.
Fine.
Yeah, I need to so then I did veggie. So it was basically a California roll and a veggie roll, but it was.
Did your children eat it?
No, I thought Clay would.
Cheers again.
Cheers. So Rob and Callie came over last night.
That's fun.
It was a spontaneous, oh, this is what we're having, so I hope you like it kind of thing. Rob sat down, took his first bite, and he was like, And I was like, oh, is that a good And Callie's like, because if it's not, you can keep your words to yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like,
you're like, now I remember why you guys are our friends.
He said, I'm going to be honest. I'm like, oh, no, it was not a good And he said, when Callie said that we're having sushi at your house, I was like, so we're going out to eat then, right? He said, quote unquote, he was terrified.
Well, probably because he thought you were only going to have 2 of the ingredients. It'd be peanut butter in there instead of seaweed.
There.
Rob probably thought he was getting rice balls.
I am not joking. I threw away 2, sriracha and rice vinegar that were expired in 2022. I felt very good about, I got fresh stuff. It wasn't even expired stuff. It was the right stuff and it wasn't expired.
Mm-mm. I don't even eat leftovers, barely, so.
Look, I nailed it.
Okay.
So cheers to my fucking sushi this year.
Is that your second one or your first one?
No, Heather, you know how I do. Okay, recap. So we were doing this and talking about keg stands last. A lot of good feedback on the keg stands.
Believe it.
Everybody
I don't
wants.
want to do a keg stand. It feels like I'm going to drown. It's going to I'm going to dry drown.
That's how I feel with Fireball. Dry drowning over here.
No, I feel like my pipes are cleaned out.
Oh, I'm just going to sip this while you talk.
It's fine. You can do whatever you need to do.
I have no reason to do anything different than this.
I got a little boozy on Christmas Eve. Not too boozy, a little boozy.
I was just right. Matt brought Fireballs, and I said no to them. I had one, but I said no. Mm-hmm. And some others did not, and they had Fireball sad faces on Christmas Day.
No.
Not me. I said, bring out that wine.
No.
Hook me up all day long. I was ready.
I drank mimosas. I started at noon.
Me too, but let's be honest, a splash of orange juice, if any, right?
Okay, so Mike made me a mimosa, and he put all orange juice in it and a splash of champagne. And I'm like, what are you trying to do? Give me heartburn?
Right. What's the point here, bro?
The point? I didn't ask for a glass of orange juice.
I bought a gallon of sparkling something, whatever, Prosecco from Costco. Mm. We drank it all the day before.
Have you been drinking your water?
Today?
Any water?
Of course.
Okay, good.
Oh, my water at home? Are you worried about my health again?
No.
Am I hydrated?
Have you been hydrating?
Oh, yeah. I worked out today. We're lifting weights. I increased my squat by 20 pounds.
Did you beat everybody on the Peloton?
Not on the... did I what?
Beat everybody on the Peloton?
It wasn't a live class, and for strength, it's not measurable. But, yeah, I did a couple of days ago. Let's see, Monday. I was 14th in my class of 96. Mm-hmm. Felt pretty good about that. Mm-hmm. I made my... I was thinking about making a Peloton hashtag of Startup Pod so that anybody who else listens to the podcast and wants to ride against each other, we all can follow the same hashtag. Mm-hmm. But I changed my name to Startup Pod so people could find me on the podcast and vice versa.
I went to Starbucks twice.
And did you think about your experience?
Yeah, I got exactly what I wanted for $280. And we knew so we went Christmas Eve, me, Bennett, and Liv. It's our thing.
And you knew you were going to have to wait a long time?
Yeah, we all prepared. Liv's like, I'm going to bring my iPad for the car. Because we would rather wait in the drive-thru for 20 minutes than even think about getting out of the car and walking 4 steps across the parking lot.
Oh, my God.
But everyone got their bougie-ass drink. And then they were out of what my sister wanted. And so Bennett was like, do you have a recommendation of something that tastes, similar? And they're like, yep. And so we went to the window. So there's this woman, this girl, she's a woman, working the window. And she was just lovely. Like, so lovely. And I actually said to Bennett and Liv when she rolled up or shut the window and went back after she collected the funds about how she was literally the best customer service experience person I've ever honestly came into contact with at any place, but particularly a drive-through. Like, sure. Awesome. And Bennett got this like smirk on his face and he was like, all right, Mom, remember that face. I'm like, okay.
Oh my God.
I'm like, oh, here we go. And I'm in the back in my nightgown. Christmas Eve. Lives in the front in booty shorts. And
Bennett driving?
Bennett's driving.
Okay.
Teeth brushed, fully cleansed. Like,
Bennett's got a toothbrush, but nobody else does.
Absolutely
like
not.
Oh my God.
Maybe Liv did, but I for sure didn't. And and so she gives us our coffee. So the first point I wanted to make was she's like, hey, if your aunt doesn't like this, she can just return it. We'll get her something different. So I thought, okay, can't speak for all Starbucks, but perhaps ours, that not only is the girl working the drive-thru super kind, but like to say, we really want you to be happy.
Goes out of her way.
Goes out of her way to say, we'll give you new coffee.
All star.
So we get our shit, we go to pull away, and Bennett goes, all right, Mom, you remember her face? And I said, yeah. And he goes, that's the lady who wants to bone Dad.
Stop! Jesus!
I go, what? So I go,
how now? Okay, we gotta take a step back. You didn't put enough detail in what she.
I guess
you called her a girl and then a woman and then a girl and then a woman.
How old is she? She's a woman.
And how does Bennett know this?
Okay, so what I understand of the backstory, or where I've been cued in, is about a year ago, maybe 6 months ago, Mike said, I think the girl at Starbucks is trying to hit on me. And we're all like, yeah, whatever.
Like, go daddy. Yeah. Get your Starbucks.
We were like, you're so fucking old. And no, they didn't. And whatever. He's like, I'm telling you. My friend told me I'm having a glow up in my old age. Long story short, everyone in the family made fun of him, like the people who live within our four walls. We never really thought, I never really thought much about it. And then like a couple months after that, the kids, one or more at the same or multiple occasions, I don't know which, have now experienced this interaction through the drive-thru.
Oh, like they've witnessed it happening with Mike.
Yes.
Okay, so that's how he knows.
Yes. Well, he knows because he brought it up to all of us first. We made fun of him.
That's how Bennett knew.
That's how the kids know. Yeah. Because they have experienced the flirting. Yeah, between. Which I assume is two sides. I mean, I don't know. I don't really care. She's adorable. I mean, I'm not like a weirdo. She's adorable. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, whatever. Keep making me my fucking latte. Right. That way I want it.
Best customer experience.
You're so kind. Like, whatever. That's
wins. Everybody wins.
The lady who wants to bone Dad. I'm like,
oh my God.
Liv was like on her iPad. She I actually haven't told Mike this yet. Maybe Bennett did. No, I think Bennett did. He did. He absolutely did tell Mike that. Yeah. Well, anyways, that was my Starbucks. But anyways, my food was,
everything was great.
Broke. I lose my husband, but my coffee was hot.
Oh God, damn,
you win some, you lose some.
I
listened to your mom's house today.
You listened to?
I listened to your mom's house, and I was thinking about the funnel a little bit.
Send me random podcasts because I'm like exploring other shit, and I keep getting into just like male comedians, and I can't believe how much they talk about their dick. So, anyways, what's your mom's house about?
It's about that couple, Christina and
Oh, that's
Jeff.
what it's called? They have a couple podcasts then.
It's called Your Mom's House. But I was thinking about the funnel a little bit.
Tom Segura.
Yeah.
So he was the other one that I was listening to, Two Bears in a Cave.
Yeah. Two Bears. Yeah. But they first of all, they had a 2-hour show.
Okay.
They always drip from one episode to the next. So it's almost, so I was thinking about that a little bit too. Like we need to follow up on Luigi and we need to follow up on but they keep sort of evolving. Their storylines that continue to evolve.
Okay, that's really interesting.
Which is fun, which we'd like to tell the same fucking story or evolve the story. Right, exactly. Yeah. 2.
So follow up on that girl at Starbucks.
Do not. And you're adorable. And if you're not flirting with my husband, at least my family is having a good time with it.
Or she is flirting with your husband. At least your family's having a good time with it.
I hit the bucket. He's a really nice man.
And he cleans.
She's adorable. She has a nose ring. Maybe I'll get one of those.
One, two. Okay, 20, 25
I really
goals.
want a nose ring.
Okay.
Two out of my 3 sister-in-laws have them, and they're gorge.
Yeah.
Gorge.
Let's get one.
And my husband's girlfriend has one. So, might as well try it.
Okay, let's do it.
Just a little one.
Yeah.
And then eventually I want like a full bullhorn when I get old. Just like really fucking mean.
I'm going to fall out of my chair. How are we going to do another fireball today? Okay.
I'm completely sober too, by the way. I did 1 fireball and
me too.
Spilled 3/4 of my beer and had a bunch of water.
Whatever we have.
And I ate. Amazon. I'm also ready to cancel them.
Okay, me too.
I'm kicking them off the altar. Get out of here. I ordered my daughter a couch. I paid double what I should for it.
A couch on Amazon?
Mm-hmm, for her bedroom, like a futon couch. So it's a queen size pink suite velvet couch, and then it pulls out into a queen size futon.
And was it for Harrison? That's what it came as?
For cousins and Cooper.
I know, but like, was it as big as it should have been for Harrison?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing UPS or Amazon did, which again, they can't control their entire supply chain. So whether it was UPS or whatever, they can. Whatever.
I was going to say, if they're big enough, they actually can.
So the first thing they did was had Reeve unload his biggest present, which was a ping pong table. Unloaded it himself. Like they pulled into our driveway and said, "Hey, bud, can you help me?" And it said ping pong on the outside. And he's like,
Jesus Christ.
Yep. So that kind of fucking irritated me. And then I was
and like, also, how are they to know and what are they to do and all these other things? But like, come on.
Use your fucking dolly and wheel that 30-pound piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, he might have.
Tiny ass little city block driveway and give me my ping pong table and don't ask my children to help you unload it.
No, true. But I was thinking like the exposure of what it is. Like, he might have seen it anyways, but.
Why they're shipping things with what it is on the outside to ping pong super huge and spending that money versus a plain box.
Oh, well, that's the packaging people. That's the ping pong manufacturer.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
So then Liv's couch paid double. Biggest gift. Said it was coming the 28th, didn't come. Said it was coming whatever. Or I'm sorry, the 24th.
Why? Did you hear about the strikes?
Okay. No.
So Teamsters Union, which is
UPS.
No, Amazon.
The Teamsters started with a big part. UPS, United Postal Service, has a ton of. They are part of the Teamsters Union. So like
I think Amazon workers are too.
Okay.
And they decided to strike. They don't really have a lot of leverage, so the only leverage they have is the holidays. So they decided to strike like a week or something before Christmas.
Nice.
Right. And I didn't really, because I didn't follow it a lot. Like, what is there? I didn't do any Christmas shopping on Amazon. I did it elsewhere. I did online, but not Amazon. So I was not personally affected, but I know loads of people who had stuff that said guaranteed before Christmas, and then the strike happened, and then it was like January 3rd.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the only thing that I saw, and I don't know if this was credible or not, but I saw it on social media. I just don't know like where it came from and how true it is. So I hesitate to share. But they turned their water on outside of the building and flooded where the people were protesting, so that they had to leave. And police officers were arresting people who were like allegedly legally protesting. So there was a lot of dissonance about whether or not, I don't know. It was just a really like dramatic protesting.
I get it. Good for the Teamsters. Whatever.
Yeah.
You're shipping us. Like,
but it affected.
Kind of when I feel like when I buy from Amazon now, I feel like I'm buying from Temu. Like you're not quite fucking sure what you're gonna get.
I 100%.
And 5 years ago, COVID,
I didn't feel that way.
I knew what I was getting. Even COVID, pre-COVID, during COVID.
Me too.
If you're getting Bounty paper towel, you're getting Bounty paper towel. You're not getting like, a napkin of Bounty, and then the rest is you know what I mean?
Totally,
like,
100% agree.
So annoyed.
Yeah, I think they got like so carried away on profits. Speaking of profits in publicly traded companies.
Walmart.
Wasn't going to say Walmart. Nordstrom is a publicly traded company, and they're going private. They got a Brazilian. I didn't look into it too much. I was going to follow this like later on when I had mental capacity to like do something other than chase kids around. Yeah. But they had a Brazilian family who now owns majority shares, and they invested like almost $6 billion. I think it was the number. Can't remember what the number was. I think it was single-digit billions, so that they're now a privately traded company. And I think that's really fascinating because I think department stores have an omni-channel big opportunity. I think like the Saks and the others of the world who were like starting to fall apart in whatever, like this new era. I think they're wrong for that. Like I think there is a time and a place for in-person. I think Nordstrom does a very good job of, I like to shop on their app. Like I enjoy that experience still. It's not like a Nordstrom nearby for us to go shopping, so I do that. But I like to go to the store. I think they're right for it. I don't think publicly traded is the right thing for all brands. And I think they can be really successful. And I'm excited for them.
I love Nordstrom's. Some of their, I love a good in-store experience too, especially like when the store is like in New York City shopping, where like your husband can sit in the corner for hours in a comfy plush chair and fucking drink coffee or whatever, and no like work the whole day.
I breastfed multiple times at Nordstrom. I guess that's like a positive affinity.
I've changed diapers.
Yeah,
but normally at most stores, when I get to really shop, it's with Mike and I and the family. I don't go alone really. I used to. I don't anymore. But normally everyone is irritated unless they're getting something for themselves. Yeah. And so I always get screwed because.
So that's why you and I go shopping.
That's right.
We're going to do our once a year Nordstrom.
But at Nordstrom's, a lot of the places, like even in New York, like you can go eat there. You can get a comfy chair. You can hook up to what? Like you can do. Like
it is an.
If your experience isn't shopping the way it is mine, and that's not the highlight of your day, but sitting in a comfy chair and drinking a latte or a beer is, like.
Yeah, you can do that.
Fun.
Mm-hmm.
So like shopping
so that somebody in your family can go shopping while the person who's been dragged along, who has a time and a place at some point in this experience. I don't know. I just think it's really interesting. So they're going private. Really interesting.
How do you
something to follow?
Go private.
You have to have somebody. So so the publicly traded stock market is a whole bunch. You're just putting ownership of your company listed so that on a marketplace so that anybody can buy a share and take ownership. By removing
you can buy one share, or you can buy, depending on how much money you have, hundreds and thousands.
Sure. So the same thing goes if you want to take your company off of the market, somebody's got to pay for those shares. Otherwise, now you're not invested. Like you don't have the backing usually to run your company because it's a part of how the company sustains itself. So then ownership needs to come from somewhere. So then a company as big as Nordstrom, big and small, right? So
they couldn't get enough people to buy their shares, or they just got bought out.
So here's the problem. They did get bought out, but I think it was like a strategic deal. Like I think it was they made a choice to go private. So I think what can happen, and when I don't know this for sure, I'll maybe try to look into it even. I think what can happen is somebody saying, hey, we're going to take this off the market. We're going to buy out shares. Sometimes it's a premium. So if you're going to say, oh, well, the market rate is $20 a share for Nordstrom share, but we'll pay $30. Well, sure. As a shareholder, this doesn't suck. Yeah, I'll take your buyout. So that's how you get people to sell their shares, right? So there has to be some sort of market value, and it just has to be majority shares. So maybe if you're a shareholder, you then get a choice. Do I want to remain a shareholder, not on the market? To sell a share that's not on the publicly traded market is probably a little more difficult. So then I think every shareholder gets to make a decision about whether or not they're going to remain, or maybe they get a little premium for selling that allows for this company. You can also split stocks to make more of it. Like, I think that there's methods. I don't have any idea what Nordstrom did.
Interesting though.
So
Nonetheless.
I think it's so interesting.
I remember 15 years ago when we were working through customer experience at one of the first companies that I worked for, we used the Nordstrom model in terms of differentiation of customer experience between, loyalists who are spending, X amount of dollars with X amount of transactions with, Y amount of value items versus, me who comes in as an example, and buys periodic. A pair of jeans, right? So that was, and I think they kind of went to hell for a while, would be my hypothesis. And now perhaps, there has to be a reason. I think they went to hell, especially their in-store experience.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Just the shape of the stores. Like, to me, they needed a considerable amount of infrastructure investment, at least from a textile standpoint, at even some of the best Nordstroms. Like, the carpet's fucking spilled on, it's sick.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You have an $800 pair of shoes or a $2,000 pair of shoes, and the carpet looks like someone blew wine up all over your living room. The carpet didn't match the drapes.
Right. That's right.
That's right. Welcome to Start Up. Okay. A couple other things I want to talk to you about today as we go.
Let's do it.
Anything about the shooter, because it's been all over all the podcasts I'm listening to.
Okay.
So any update that you have? The only update I have is there's this whole war on the internet between how hot of a killer he is, apparently. The internet's saying he's
kind of attractive.
All right, well, that's what the internet's saying. They brought it up on your mom's house at Jeff and Christina.
What did Christina say? I like her.
Christina was sort of like, yeah, he is hot, man. Like, I mean,
not wrong.
Yeah. And if he's bisexual or not, that's also the internet is totally.
Well, I think that should be irrelevant, but.
Well, the internet is
ruthless.
And also, Christine and Jeff is a comedy show, so they make everything that's private or should be off limits or is
on the table. Their kids
on the table.
I love that. Their kids
it's on the table, and they actually say really funny things. You can tell they're just so sarcastic. And
they don't even laugh. They're just like
shit. No, I love them.
Me too. I think they're good. You introduced me to them.
I also watched the Aaron Rodgers documentary on Netflix. Fascinating.
Why?
Like,
where do you come from with Aaron Rodgers?
Ashwagandha. Well, Aaron Rodgers, I think he's a perfectionist. I think he's super hardworking. I think he was misinterpretive. I think he's sort of out there. I think as far as out there as he is, he's probably super normal. I think he got into a thing during COVID.
Sure.
Where he said he didn't say vaccinated. He said immunized. He didn't say what immunization. So that was a little sketch.
I think he's like very openly not vaccinated though, right? Like he doesn't believe in it. I think he very
has
clearly
vaccines.
Said it. Oh, sure, but not the COVID vaccine.
Not the COVID vaccine.
Okay. Anyway.
Okay,
tell me about the Aaron Rodgers.
So it was just fascinating. I started to think about just the marketing into sports and the NFL a ton. And how they market. It's brilliant marketing by a bunch of fabulous marketers like you and I who turn athletes into not humans.
Yeah. And
then you pull back like a 30 for 30 or an Aaron Rodgers special or whatever. You're like, oh, he sees dead people just like the rest of us.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So I thought about that a little bit. But in terms of him, he hasn't talked to his family in 2 years or even longer. Something weird happened.
His immediate, his parents.
His brother. His brother went on some dating show, and his other brother and his mom and dad were on there, and they left 2 empty chairs that they filmed, and then it went on. Like, I don't know.
Things are weird.
It was weird, but it was good nonetheless.
Unfortunate. Is he married?
Aaron Rodgers is not married. He dated little Olivia Munn for a while.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Hottie.
Yeah.
Office Christmas Party is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Okay.
She's in that.
Okay.
And Aaron Rodgers. I watched a little bit of that. Okay, we're gonna split. Take a break.
Yeah.
We're going to go into the realty.
And talk to Chick-Fil-A.
Chick-Fil-A.
Chick-Fil-A. Wow, is this like a tartare Chick-Fil-A?
Chick-Fil-A. My kids act like it's Chick-Fil-A. We're going to the fucking Saks.
Awesome. All right, Queen.
Cheers. Dan Campbell. Marry, fuck, or kill.
It's league baseball. And it's the class.
Definitely not kill.
They absolutely fucking not.
Probably a fuck.
Down. That cute little face. Maybe marry. If you're going to look like that.
I know, even when he's mad at like whatever's going on, I'm like, oh. But so that's why I was debating between
handsome,
marry or fuck. He's big, handsome. But he could be a good marry option. Would be dependent on every. All right, let's put.
Is he a pick things up, put things down kind of guy?
Pause that. Okay, put 3 other dudes on the table with Dan Campbell.
Okay,
Are they all
I gotta think about you, you nerdy little woman. Dan Campbell, Dak Shepard,
Okay, well, okay, that's interesting.
Ty Pennington.
Who's Ty Pennington?
All right, skip.
Isn't he like, move that truck?
Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan.
Ew, okay.
Ew, you don't like Joe Rogan?
No, I do. I listen to him a lot,
Such
actually.
a fuck, but he's not a fuck. He's a fuck, but he's not a fuck. He's a fuck.
Okay, no, it's a good option. It's not a new. It's not a new. It's a valid.
Okay, so Joe Rogan,
But
Dak Shepard, and
But it would. This is easy though. Hands down, Joe Rogan kill. Even though like it would be an interesting fuck, but hands down kill.
hands down.
Probably marry Dak Shepard and fuck Dan Campbell. Because I wouldn't want to kill either two of them. But I do like Joe Rogan. I just said ew because of the perspective of all of the other ones.
All right, ask me 3.
Okay, I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna throw Joe Rogan in there.
Okay.
Okay, Gronk.
Okay.
Okay, hold on, Joe Rogan, Gronk,
Oh
and
my God. Give me another one. Give me a third one I'd kill. That's what makes it hard.
it's so hard. I'm glad you're not killing Gronk. Barack Obama. I know.
I'd kill Gronk. Fuck Joe Rogan. No.
Oh, she's changing her mind.
No, I think I'd marry Obama. Or vice versa. I'd fuck him once and marry Joe Rogan because I'm pretty mouthy. And I think Joe Rogan would beat people up. I think Barack would just be like, let's talk about this.
Oh, so hold on. Review with me. You are killing Gronk, going to fuck Obama once, and then
Probably marry Joe Rogan.
Marry Joe. Oh yeah, that's how.
I feel like fucking
Okay.
Barack Obama would be like the same thing over and over and over again. Like, there's
That's a really good
there's no
assessment.
swag. Like, is there? I mean, yes, he can speak. Yeah, there's swagger, but I'm just not sure. I'm like, I don't know.
It was
Joe Rogan, it is. Although you do wear affliction T-shirts, which is not my fucking vibe.
Well, if you're gonna marry him, maybe you can influence his clothing attire. Did you say that that's your specialty with Mike?
No, I try to influence, and he just ends up wearing whatever the fuck he wants. And the other night we went out, I'm like, you look like Fred Durst.
Doesn't hurt you.
He had his hat pulled down like really far, like a flat bell. And he was like, no, I don't.
I don't even know what Fred Durst looks like.
You don't? All right, what do you know about Chick-Fil-A? Welcome to the Real Tea.
The real cheese.
Switching it up today. Actually, this is the first switch up that the audience hopefully will see. Because we've switched up before, but it hasn't been live yet.
Yeah, we haven't aired it.
So I've done the research.
And I know only my personal experience. I'm here to ask questions.
Tell me that.
Chick-fil-A is only open 6 days a week because they're a godly company.
Yeah.
And is a southern fried chicken food people get really excited about. And we don't have one anywhere closer than 1 hour from our house. And let me just tell you, my first time eating Chick-fil-A was in the Atlanta airport with Tim Lacey. As soon as I told him that I had never had Chick-fil-A, he was like, I gotta get you Chick-fil-A. We had to go like all over, get Chick-fil-A. And it was like pretty average because it's airport food. Mm-hmm. But when I landed in Florida in September this year and I hadn't had breakfast, like I'm someone who needs to eat like every 3 to 5 hours, and I hadn't had my food and I don't check my bags, like bye bitches, I'll see you on the other side of this train. And there wasn't a line.
You don't check your bags, or you do check your bags?
No, I do not. I don't check my bags. I carry on, like I'm good to go. But I didn't see a line at Chick-fil-A, and it was like 10 o'clock in the morning or some crazy early. And I'm like, we're getting Chick-fil-A. And they were the best fucking little nuggets of chicken I'd ever had. And a Coke. and it could put a McDonald's hangover to shame. And I wasn't even hungover. Well, I might have been hungover because I had a lot of beers at the Detroit airport, but that's where we were
Don't
at.
lie to our audience.
That's where we were at.
Absolutely.
That's where we were at.
Okay. Have your kids had Chick-fil-A yet?
No.
Okay. So
Too far away. We
Yeah.
hadn't traveled like that with them.
yeah, no. So I think a couple weeks ago I said I want to do Chick-fil-A, and then I got like on a random tangent one night and I did a bunch of research on Chick-fil-A. And the only reason I have experience to Chick-fil-A is travel sports.
Yeah, what made you
My
be
children.
like, okay, your
I
children
have waited in a fucking Chick-fil-A line that's been wrapped around this continent, the next one, and
that's
then
what
back
made you
through.
and that's what made you say we have to talk about
I
it?
have to talk about it. If I'm willing to sit in the line and not be mad, and my kids willingly want, but they'd rather sit in a Chick-fil-A line than sit in a restaurant.
Wow.
We waited in a line for it. We've had fun with it, and so
How long is the longest you've waited?
45 minutes
Good
to an hour.
God. Good God.
in Grand Rapids. Yep.
Okay.
So I was like, well, fuck it.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
If Daddy's willing to wait that long and not have a heart attack, and I'm willing to sit in the car that long and not have a heart attack, and my babies are willing to, like,
And you know
in the
what?
car together.
Half of it is like whether or not the kids are willing to wait. Like I could sit and entertain myself in a car. You should see me singing, but my kids can't. They're just too young.
My
but your kids are
favorite
there
place to be is being driven around in a car.
with your kids. You like that?
No, I do.
Yeah,
When they were
because they're
little.
right age.
When they were little, I wanted to hang out my head out the window and then roll the fucking window up. Now I'll take anything I can get.
I understand.
When we're all in the same car, it makes me feel at peace. Like I have, my mother-in-law always said that. Like I have,
Oh, sort of but not opposite of claustrophobic. You like it nice and tight. No pun intended. Hello, Joe Rogan. The fuck.
tell you what happens when you get old. Doesn't say nice and tight. It just everything goes towards the ground.
It has nothing to do with the car.
Chick-fil-A was, still, and is a family-owned company.
Yeah.
It was started by Truett Cathy, the first, who says that they invented the first original chicken sandwich in 1967, even though research says it wasn't the first. But that was the marketing claim that they have lived off of and die off of, and even despite a bunch of controversies, still sort of claim today. False,
Sure.
true, or indifferent.
Where does the controversy come from? Like KFC?
Popeyes.
Oh, Popeyes.
We'll get there. It's 2019. We're 50 years later, 60 years later. So Truett Cathy found a way to cook boneless chicken using a...
Truett Cathy, a boy?
Yep. Using a pressure cooker and peanut oil. And so what he found out in being a restaurant owner is that basically he saw that as innovation for chicken, meaning with a pressure cooker, he could almost cook it as fast as a hamburger.
Okay, so that's interesting.
Now you can pump out some volume.
That's really interesting.
Back in 1967.
But that was that. But everybody else at
It was
the time,
innovation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed the
taking forever. Yeah, that would be my guess.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so they call it innovation, and then they registered the Chick-fil-A and the trademark slogan, "We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich."
Didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich.
And although they didn't actually invent it based on data and
Right.
research,
But same thing
they
with,
were
like-
the first national chain to like market it, monetize it, make money off of it.
Budweiser the
And
same,
make it fast.
Coca-Cola the same.
Correct.
Oh, we've got a thread here. We're gonna make a
there we go.
list by the end of 2025 of a list of people who made an assload of money of something that wasn't their idea.
An assload of money. But it is your idea. And think about most innovation.
not.
But it is.
Chick-fil-A was their idea.
So if I invent the beer and you invent strawberry beer,
We're not going back to Budweiser.
I'm just saying they didn't invent chicken, but the fucking sandwich. They were
Yeah,
the
but
first
you're
to be
saying
smart
they-
enough to monetize
Okay,
it.
there it is. There it is. Okay, fair. That's it.
Okay, 1967, which is still today a chicken sandwich, 2 pickles on a butter toasted bun. This guy, this Truett Cathy, even up until a couple years ago, his son was the CEO. So
Okay.
it's still family owned, family ran.
His son was
Done.
very recently the CEO.
Correct.
Is still alive.
Still owned by the Catholic family today. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if he's still alive, but they're a $21.6 billion company with 35,000 employees, and they're the largest chain.
21.6. What'd you say?
They're $21.6 billion in 2023.
Okay.
35,500 employees.
Okay.
The largest chain specializing in chicken sandwiches. Relative to other franchises, as a McDonald's per se.
And they're a franchise.
They are.
Okay, that's
But they don't have the same model as a McDonald's. Where a McDonald's, if you have a certain amount of money, let's say 35 to 50 grand plus, you can invest into a McDonald's, and it's heavily
35 to 60 grand.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a whole bunch of other criteria, which
sure,
I'm
but
not
like
suited
that's
to answer.
sure,
but like, if
sure.
you have that amount of money plus that amount
Other
of
stuff,
cash,
sure.
plus probably an X amount of equity, they will sell it to you. But they
Got
don't
it.
care who you are. Is what I'm saying. If you're an investor and you have $1 trillion and you want to buy 14 Taco Bells, you can generally do that. If you have $35,000, X amount of money in the bank, and you're not 6 point something miles away from there's a whole bunch of other
criteria. I get it.
Chick-fil-A's business model is completely different. It's only
Okay.
$10,000 to buy into a Chick-fil-A.
10,000.
In the interview, they don't want investors. They want people who are already heavily involved, engaged, and represented within the community. They want you to work at the fucking store. They want you to give back in your community. And I think I'm going to be a little bit wrong, but they take Chick-fil-A in terms of like, so it's a let me step back. It's a rigorous process to own a Chick-fil-A. They actually have people who work for corporate, who, if you and I wanted to start a Chick-fil-A, all we need is 10 grand. And there's like, for every, I have it written down somewhere. We can put the metric in the notes, but let's say like 400,000 people say they want a Chick-fil-A, like 2% of people get that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Why? What else is the criteria?
They want you to
be in your community. You said
promote
in the community.
that operators give back, and copy from the website. Our hometown hero is your local operator. We choose the owner-operator of every restaurant with care, looking for people who want to make an impact in their communities. From hosting family events like daddy-daughter date night to helping team members pursue higher education.
So it's like getting into a Ivy League college.
Through the remarkable future scholarships initiatives, our operators, they call their owners our operators.
Okay.
Our operators are always looking for opportunities to give back.
Do you think that's a disadvantage? So they have like clearly a recipe in churning chicken out the door. Why is it important, in your opinion, for their operators to be a part of their community?
I think it goes back to a couple things, and I'm not saying I agree with these things. But if you look back into their founding, their growth, their purpose, their leadership, their franchise model, their values, like just their overall verbiage, I think, argue the fact that we can get into the controversy of the LGBTQ plus community. We can get into the controversy of being closed on Sundays. They're a Christian value.
Stuff, yeah.
First of all, they're a Christian Baptist founded company, Southern Baptist. So many of the company's values are influenced by the Christian religious beliefs of its late founder, S. Truett Cathy, a devout Southern Baptist reflecting on commitment to Sunday, like Sunday.
Sure. But they've what's your point of view on what if they took away that value? Does that?
No, I think it's a total differentiator.
Do you think so?
I think that.
Where does it matter? Because just in what you told me.
Yeah. If I'm a private investor,
the pressure cooker, the taste of the chicken.
Yeah.
That's not why your kids wait in line, is because they're Baptists. And they care about their community.
My kids wait in line because, one, your food's fucking good.
That's my point. What if they took away the value? Could they make a whole bunch more money?
No. And the value is just not in the quality product, meaning what you're eating. The value is in, they say, it's my pleasure. They have deep customer experience. You have face-to-face customer interaction. You're not... during COVID, they sort of exploded in other places. Then everyone had to go through the drive-thru where you didn't talk to a computer anymore. You talked to a computer and you had a human with a computer, so you could move the line. Chick-fil-A was light years ahead of that in terms of the experience they were providing their customer.
So the only other thing
it's much easier for you and I to talk and say, Jess, I want a chicken sandwich, than me to text you my voice bullshit and not know what I want. Chick-fil-A already had that very personalized, where you're a guest. Like, order your shit face to face. Like,
Okay, so here's the only other thing that I know about Chick-fil-A that I didn't share. So I looked it up ahead of this so that I had the facts right, that I wasn't. So some months ago, I don't remember, I heard it on like a Wall Street Journal thing. They were experimenting with in Atlanta, and when I looked this up this morning, they were expanding this. They're experimenting with, because their biggest problem is the long wait times in their drive-through.
yeah.
So they are working on a 2-story. They can fit 75 cars on their lower level, and then their second level is an entire kitchen that's where they will take your order, or maybe it's an automated ordering system. But I think there's still like a human involved in taking your order, humans cooking, and then they called it like a smart something or another, smart butler. I think I might be getting it wrong, but anyways,
House manager, butler,
yes.
doorman.
And then there's servers downstairs. So there's people on all parts, but there's automation in between, and they were very successful. And then the only thing that I looked up today was like, what was that? I had heard that they were launching that to churn more like drive-through traffic. And then they were doing that, maximizing the drive-through traffic with the kitchen on the second level, automating that process, getting it to servers on the bottom level, and then they hand you your chicken. You never leave your car. And it's an only drive-through experience in Atlanta, and they're expanding it.
Yeah. I mean, so speaking of Atlanta, before Chick-fil-A, Kathy and his brother Ben ran a small diner called the Dwarf Grill in Hateville, Georgia, which was later renamed the Dwarf House. Kathy invented the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich
Why
at the Dwarf House.
Do we know?
I don't know. In 1946. It has grown over to 3,000 locations across 48 states. Truett, Kathy's son Dan, served as the company's CEO from 2013 to 2021, and his grandson Andrew became the CEO in 2021.
Grandson. Okay, so still all CEO stuff in the family.
Yep.
Do you think that's going well for them?
I think so. I think we'll talk about the growing pains in the Baptist church and what happened in 2019 and where they're at today.
Okay.
So their franchisees pay $10,000, but the Chick-fil-A pays for the real estate, equipment, inventory. In return, they take 15% plus 50% of any profit.
Hold on. Okay. All right, let's back that
15%
up.
of sales.
15%. The $10,000 gets you a franchise. What was the 15%? Goes to who?
15% of sales
Percent of sales
plus 50% of any profit.
goes to the franchisee owner. Goes to
Back to
Chick-fil-A.
corporate.
Okay. All right. So whatever you make as a franchise.
So you give them $10,000. They pay your real estate,
Just
your
startup
equipment,
costs.
and your inventory. Mm-hmm. And then in return, they take 15% of sales, even if you're flat or below, if you're not making any money, plus 50% of any profit.
Oh, so if you are in the red, they still take 15. And so you're like
50%.
really fucked if you're
Right.
wrecked.
But the interview process is rigorous. It'd be like an adoption process, is how I understand it. Like, not easy. Like, there's a million people in Midland who apply every year, and like no one's getting it. You know what I mean? Like, you're talking application after application.
Yeah, like you're going to
And
be
a lot of it's based
successful.
on- Exactly. So what they're greeting you at our drive-through face-to-face or ordering inside face-to-face, the Chick-fil-A team members strive to serve a memorable experience for each and every guest.
Is that your experience?
Yep. Despite of only being open 6 days a week, their earnings are like, compared to other people's.
Wait, hold on. What does that mean? They're
Earnings.
only open 6 days a week, but their earnings are a lot better.
Speaking of Sundays, our founder, S. Truett Cathy, made the decision to close on Sundays in 1946.
Oh, so they weren't always closed on Sundays.
Yeah, basically since he started the Dwarf Bar and Grill.
Oh, okay.
Yep. He knew what it was like to work 7 days a week in restaurants, so he saw the importance of letting his employees set aside one day to rest and
I feel
worship
that.
if they choose. During the company's conservative opposition of same-sex marriage has caused controversy. This is where we get into like what happened in 2019 and then post. The company began to loosen its stance on the issues from 2019. Despite numerous controversies and boycott attempts, the 2022 American Customer Satisfaction Index found that Chick-fil-A remained the country's favorite fast food chain for 18 consecutive years and the highest per store sales of any fast food chain in the nation.
Hold on, let's stop there. Chick-fil-A was of the highest satisfactory and the top. That was both in sales and preference.
And in preference.
But what was the date on those? There was a deadline. There was a end date on it. Is still the truth?
Still today.
Okay.
Still true enough. In 2019, they sort of got very exposed. In 2019, Popeyes brought their chicken sandwich online. I remember going to Brand Week and listening to the chief marketing officer and like the head strategy team of Popeyes talking about their social media campaign. So what happened was Popeyes launched a chicken sandwich.
Popeyes popped off.
Popeyes popped the fuck off. They did. Long story short, they grew by 38%. They sold out of all of the chicken. And after that, every major restaurant, fast food chain in the country now sells a chicken sandwich. Like all 20-some chains all have a chicken sandwich. Starting with Chick-fil-A being popped off by Popeyes. They got into this crazy Twitter war.
And
Popeye said
chicken war.
It's a Twitter and chicken war. Popeye says something sort of passive aggressive or aggressive about Chick-fil-A's stance on gay marriage, LGBTQ+, calling them out. I mean, if you read all the documentation, they used to give, millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to organizations that people can research on their own that were anti-gay marriage, rights, anti-whatever. They went through the mill. The research that I can tell today, they have in a podcast I just listened to on the way here, hosted by a gay man, his straight woman co-star. They pulled back on all of, not all, but presumably most of their contributions to hate organizations. They now...
Chick-fil-A did.
They did, correct? Because they were deep Southern Baptists, and some of the
maybe they weren't even aware.
They were maybe not. You know what I mean? I don't know. The website still today talks about, if you read in between the lines, there's still a religious based focus.
Yeah, which is fair. That's part of it.
It's fine. Whatever you want, but everyone has an opinion. So I guess 2019 shit blew up with Popeyes. Popeyes called them out for their lack of equality or their lack of inclusiveness in a way in the Twitter war. Chicken blew up. Popeyes blew up. Popeyes sold out. Chick-fil-A still remains strong today. They've evolved over time. I even have read articles that some of their top people are, not heterosexual, and also have more liberal lifestyles than what the company was founded on, and they still have high performing positions, but they basically got forced into the corner, if we're going to be honest. They contributed, whether they knew or not, to organizations for a lot of years that were anti-S, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z. They continued to create stances that were not inclusive of most of the people or a lot of the people working their drive-thru. Took a lot of heat for that. And so because of that heat, they have evolved. They're doing things better. Whether they're doing everything right, I don't know, in terms of how they treat their people or what their stance is or where they're funding their money, but it's getting better. It's getting better. And all I know is their fucking macaroni and cheese is bomb. Their sauce is bomb. Their pop is cold. There's like a secret Chick-fil-A life where they have secret menu items that if you only know about them, if you're like, like Michelin, like you know. And I think my point of view is that it was a family company that has been based on what they call values, whether or not there are values or not. I think they've evolved over time. I think they still make a quality meal. They went non-GMO. They have no trans fats. They have face-to-face interaction. They treat a guest as a guest, not a customer. So I think, if my children are willing to wait in a line for 45 minutes and sit with me in the car and order their shit and take it back to the hotel lobby and eat it.
I'm honestly going to say, if they go a long way to limit, if they're going to prevent people from opening franchises, I guess, they're going to go a long way to be to say no. Or growth is increasing more footprint, right? Starbucks did it massively. That's how they grew. If Chick-fil-A is saying, no, we're going to restrain that, we're not going to grow dramatically, maybe they can say that having the right people is a part of that. But maybe a factor of that is having sourced high quality where their chickens comes from. Because that's a supply chain problem that they can't control.
Do you remember when you asked me about why you think how they have operators or franchise owners,
Yeah.
Okay. The difference is they believe a true differentiator is their franchise model. Owns versus and selects locations and restaurants. They aren't looking for financial investors. Investors that buy into McDonald's.
They are not. They
do not want people buying into their brand because they can.
Oh.
They want people buying into their brand who are going to own and operate
and work
their own location. It keeps it more intimate, more consistent, and more controlled customer experience.
I wonder how
the
they
franchise
really that's really interesting.
The franchise owners are called operators, and they're handpicked by people from corporate. It's an extensive interview process that can take up to 2 years.
Wow.
It's like going to Harvard for your MBA. It's a 12 to 24 month process.
Wow.
They only accept 130 new operators a year. It's a lower acceptance rate than Stanford.
It's only $10,000, but
they
it's
look for people who
lower.
operate that are excellent leaders and can build and enable strong teams who provide strong service. And only a $10,000 investment plus capital versus McDonald's $45,000 cash. Still owned and operated by the Cathy family. I told you that.
I did hear. Hold on.
The average CFA gross an average of $6.71 million. I read something anywhere between like the most you can make is $250 to as low as $150.
That's what I was.
I need to validate that because I have to think about if you're.
I actually heard that it was $2 million a year.
So if your gross is 6.7.
6.7 million.
So 6.7 million a restaurant was the average
I didn't
revenue.
I didn't have operating costs.
Despite being, I don't have operating costs either. That's the problem.
Because they're private.
I don't understand. I understand revenue. I don't understand operating costs. I understand the model in terms of how the company gets paid back.
Right.
I don't understand the debit from the income statement to understand what the true
how does it really come
means.
together?
Yeah.
Because
I don't know.
Who does it go to? That's what's confusing.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
So the average restaurant or the average location grossed about $6.7 million in 2026, despite being open 6 days to most of all highest volume food chains being open 7 days a week, next to Raising Cane's with an average of
Raising Cane's.
It's good chicken too. For context, in 2019, McDonald's was $40 billion and Chick-Fil-A was 11.3.
Hold on, McDonald's 40 billion, 11.3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Corporate purpose to glorify God.
Hold on. Can I have one more question?
Yeah.
With all the financials that we just covered really quickly, was the consensus that Chick-fil-A is more profitable per unit? Or do we not know? We don't know that. Because McDonald's is four times Chick-fil-A.
No.
But Chick-fil-A is not the footprint that McDonald's is.
On a revenue basis, like McDonald's is making more.
Unit,
but on a...
Makes me wonder per unit. I didn't know if
EBITDA?
Well, I wondered like revenue per store. Like if McDonald's was right here, Chick-fil-A was right here, who stacks up? And
I don't know. My hypothesis would be that if you have one Chick-fil-A in Midland versus the 3 McDonald's we have in Midland, there are 2 or 3 McDonald's now.
I think there's 2.
And
then
3
there's one in
Taco Bells.
Stanford.
Whatever. Within a 10-mile radius. Mm-hmm. If one
They would
Chick-fil-A is
still
making an average of $6 million, are those 3 restaurants making $6 million apiece? I'm going to say fuck no. You're making more like 1 to 3 would be my hypothesis.
Me too. Yeah,
because you have 3 of them.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I guess my take on Chick-fil-A is there is something to be said about exclusivity. And
Wow, is there?
and
Putting a
says the boozy bitch.
Scarcity.
Said the boozy bitch and the goodwill.
Putting a scarcity on an item.
Okay, so all I'm saying is they have done some pretty fucked up things in terms of where they contribute their money. They faced a backlash for their donations and those made by executives for years. Before 2012.
The executives made donations to like shitty places.
Before 2012, the company consistently donated to anti-LGBTQ groups, and CEO Dan Cathy said supporting same-sex marriage would invite God's judgment on the country.
So, okay.
I knew that was going to get you really fired up, so I didn't read it.
Well, Heather, we can't have a discussion about a company without being like, that's what we do.
Okay, so they
hold
fucked
on.
up. And then
Stop.
they've
Let's talk about
basically
it.
been fastest up until 2012. And then following the backlash in 2012.
2012.
In response to the company's donations and Kathy's comments, Chick-fil-A stopped making donations to some, but not all, of the controversial groups. The company continued to face criticism. 7 years later, in November 2019, Chick-fil-A donations got attention again when the company announced an areas of charity of focus for 2020. So in 2020, they didn't say we're not going to give to the people we've gave to ever.
Do they have to publicize that? That's so interesting.
I think you do. If you're getting that much blown up for 7 fucking years, it's eventually hitting your bottom line.
So that's so interesting. I'm going to look into if they have to publicize it. Well, they're not even a publicly traded company, so
it's all their public affairs. So
yeah, I know.
they
But
said-
so they're choosing to publicize
They
it.
chose. But you only choose to publicize your dirty laundry if your fucking closet's open. And I think from 2012 to 2019,
They were like,
they
why
got
not?
fired up. And then
They
George
didn't think
Floyd.
they didn't.
And then
they didn't think there was anything wrong with it.
They did not. They never even batted an eye against.
And then
the
in
decisions.
2019, they were like,
okay.
oh, people saw it.
7 years later, in November 2019, Chick-fil-A donations got attention again when the company announced its areas of charity focus for 2020: education, homeless, and hunger, and expanded partnerships with Junior Achievement, Covenant House, and local food banks. The shift in focus meant the company's charity initiatives would no longer involve donations to groups that had previously fueled criticism, including the Salvation Army and Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
Is this their words?
This is the USA Today.
Okay.
But I have 3 articles open,
I was
all
curious.
basically
I was curious,
with the same
like,
synopsis.
how, like,
USA Today, Wikipedia.
okay, so what's your take?
My take
Yeah.
is they perhaps know better, so they're doing better, and that is going to be my
Or are they
ignorant
washing?
take.
Are they washing?
Are they whitewashing?
No, it's totally okay if you're like, I really like their
I
chicken.
don't give a shit what your motive is.
Oh, yeah,
At the end
that's
of
what
the
I'm saying.
day, like if you're going to play the game and pretend that you care about people and you're going to give money,
Yeah.
I'm not spending every okay. I agree with about 40% of what you're doing and 90% of what you cook. So you're going to get
Yeah.
5% of my money, 1% of my money. I'm not going to you're halfway decent. You're not getting all my 401k is going into your asset.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Totally.
So I'm going to
It's not all or nothing.
It's not all or nothing for me, just like the rest of the things that we've done. But I'm not giving them a huge percent of my time, my income, whatever. They have inconvenienced me and delighted me.
Yeah. And the chicken's healthy and good, and it's a good.
They're fucking macaroni and cheese woman.
It's just, I don't know if macaroni and cheese is
I'll
good.
make a vegan-like cheese. So good. Mars, try the fucking macaroni.
So, despite their past criticisms, they are trying to do better.
Yeah.
Whether or not that's just a public thing. There would be no reason to believe that they are not fueling anything privately. Like, I don't understand why they have to disclose I don't think they have to disclose.
The internet's still mad at them, by the way. Like, despite the fact that they're doing most things right that
Well,
I can
we don't know.
report
That's
on,
what
the
I'm
internet's
wondering.
pissed.
Yeah, that's what
The
I'm wondering.
internet's still pissed.
They don't have to disclose where they're giving their money to.
But even the gays, like I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, and if the gays want to blow me up, they can fucking blow me up. But even the gays are like, God damn it, I want to eat at Chick-fil-A. Do the right thing.
Yeah.
Your macaroni and cheese is bomb. Stop being a dick and do the right thing so I don't have to feel guilty about it. Your product is good enough.
The gays can make a macaroni and cheese that's just as good.
Maybe. I mean, we don't know. I can't. I mean,
is God in that macaroni and cheese? Like, I don't think so. It's just a recipe. Someone will figure it out. So here's my thing. Like, that's what the market's all about. You don't have to. Like, not everybody has to love Chick-fil-A for it to exist. I think what's sometimes, like, wrong about wokeness, and, like, let me tread on careful territory here with a half a bottle of wine and 2 fireball shots, but, like, let me sit with this for a second, is that we want to voice the right thing, and we want to experience, like, I'm willing to say I was wrong. Like, I've had my moments of wrongness, and I'm willing, if we want to, today or another day, sit here where I have and air out all of my, like, wrongness, and we can call it wokeness. I don't think that a, like, quote unquote woke culture, or, like, I don't think we all need to be like, oh, Chick-fil-A is doing the wrong thing, and so, like, everybody needs to bombard Chick-fil-A and we need to cancel them. I think they're a company that has values, profit, safety.
know better, do better is what you're saying.
Like, let's talk about Dollar General, and they're shitting on their employees. Like,
Shitting. These guys are not shitting on their... Like, they shit on a couple employees, and therefore they're being forced to not shit on people. More
like,
allegedly.
So, like, compare the two, and it's so obviously, to me, like, the impact in the world is so obvious. Positive Chick-fil-A, even if you don't share their values, so then go to KFC, like, it's going to be fine. Like, the world is going to be fine, and you're going to be fine. Like, that's kind of where I'm at with these things, is that even if it's controversial, and even if you don't believe in what they believe, and if it matters enough to you, then make your personal choice. Yeah. But it doesn't need to be a burden for everybody else to share.
And does it have to be super black and white or infinite?
No, I don't think so.
It's not fair. What I'm realizing about life as I get a little older is it's not fair to ask people for the own, like, grace and allowance to evolve and become somebody different if you're not going to extend that same grace.
Yeah.
And so, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like,
they're evolving. They don't fucking
that's
know.
Big. That's
In
really big.
1940,
That's
Grandpa
really big.
didn't fucking know.
Right. They're trying to hold their values and evolve, which is extremely hard.
Do you think your values change?
Do I think my values change?
Some.
Yes.
Or some not?
Well, okay.
What's non-negotiable?
So let me give you an example about one of the stories that I was like referencing in my mind while I was in my monologue back there. I don't think my values have changed, but my perspective, certainly something has changed. An example, if I'm going to admit this is all going to be hard, okay? Like, I'm going to tell you something that's, like, weird and awkward. And when I was in college, my professor at my university, Northwood, it's a conservative, like, business school college. My professor, elder, but I distinctly remember the room, and I remember a very mixed response to her statement. But she said, if a woman walks out in public in shorts that are too short, she's I think it was like a supply and demand conversation. Oh, God. If a woman walks out in shorts that are too short, and she gets hit on, and she doesn't like that, didn't she ask for that? And I remember distinctly a mixture of men and women in that room that were like, fuck that, upset with her. And I did not. I was like, very, very, like, pragmatic, objective. I think you know me very, very well to imagine how
very
I
black and white for
yeah,
you.
like, it's very,
it's
like,
not emotional.
yeah, like, if you don't want that response, then wear something different. I really believed that at that time.
Yeah.
And I got into our last episode, we talked about how I get drunk and get into arguments with men.
I love it so much.
I don't always win them. This one, I got drunk. It ended up in like a rape conversation, and I held hold. I was like, I don't know. And a couple years later, I very much changed my mind. Like I thought about it a lot. Like this was like a change.
I know
in
you.
life.
It fucking bothered you.
Yeah, it bothered me.
A decade.
And I don't even know if he recognized me when I saw him again. But I was like, look, dude. And he's like, he's a school teacher, maybe a principal.
Did you arm wrestle him?
No.
With your brain? Did you arm wrestle him with
No. I like pulled him aside. I don't know. But we were still at a bar, of course. Like, where else would we be? And I just said, look, I don't know if you remember this. And he didn't acknowledge whether he did or didn't. But I like laid it out and said, this is what we argued about. I don't think that anymore. And I think about that day all the time. Like, I've thought about it a lot. I've changed my point of view. And I just, like, need you to know that you the words you shared with me, like the point of view that you expressed, made me think about it that entire time. And it changed my point of view. So, like, girls can wear whatever they want. I did. Like, I don't know. So, Chick-fil-A can change too. I don't know.
I think we're clinking to the food, clinking to who they're trying the progress they've made.
Yeah.
Closing to their bullshit from 10 years ago because we have perspective now.
I'm going to say I am clinking with some reservation. I do have some, like, skepticism of the height. But, like, I'm not opposed. I clink enough. I clink. So we clink to Chick-fil-A.
We're clinking. It's okay, kids. Kids, parents alike, you can still go to Chick-fil-A and not feel like an asshole.
Thank you for listening to Stirred Up. If you like what you heard, please subscribe. Check us out on YouTube. Follow us on your podcast apps. Please send it to a friend. Leave a comment. Add a rating. Every little bit helps. We look forward to seeing you next week.